Hi, guys. Happy Monday. Welcome back to another episode of Soulful Living with Megs. As always, it is so great to have you here back for a moment of connection with me. Hi, my beautiful friends. How are we doing today? Happy Monday. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. I hope you are feeling fulfilled in every area in your life. And it's just so great to sit down with you again today and connect and spend a few moments together. So I really appreciate your time. Guys, I am feeling okay today. If I'm being honest, it's been a pretty low energy week for me this past week. I've been extremely busy trying to fit in so many things, trying to maintain a level of peace in my home and my head, and there's just a lot going on and it's fun. It's like all good things, summer plans, being outside a ton. It just means a little bit more, time out there, less time with myself to dedicate to cleaning my house. Not that it's messy, but you guys know what I mean. I just feel like my routine is a bit off and I'm trying to navigate that, but I know that, it'll be easier as the summer months flow through and it gets warmer. I know I'll figure it out, but there have been some truly incredible moments of this past week that I, of course, want to share with you. I love to connect with you on personal things in my life and just celebrate everything. And I feel like it opens up a conversation for me to celebrate you. And yeah, I appreciate that you guys let me hold space for the things that I want to share because it is so nice. And I do feel like bringing the positive energy into our conversation is always helpful, and just to let you guys know where I'm at in my life and how I'm feeling, even if I've had, a more slow week in terms of like emotional state and not feeling super energized and things like that. But one of the first things that I wanted to share with you is that I have been chosen to be a godmother, which is kind of crazy to think about, the fact that I'm of the age where people are considering me for a role of caring for their child if anything happens. And yeah, it just makes me realize, wow, it's such a like it's such a blessing to age in this world, and I hope I'm a godmom to other babies and to my best friends' children and things like that, but my wonderful cousins have asked me to be the godmother to their second baby. And I have yet to meet baby boy number 2. And I'm so excited to be there for his baptism, to be his godmom. I know I'm going to be a wonderful godmother and a wonderful big cousin. And what I love about my family is that, since we've reconnected, especially the ones on the island, they do an incredible job of maintaining connection between their youngest with their kids to everybody in the family. And it's something that, I maybe didn't have when I was younger, but it's something I very much want and cherish now, where, these little ones know exactly who their cousins are, their aunts, their uncles. And even if they don't see them a ton, like I don't get to see my baby cousins on the island that much. It's definitely a few times a year, which I'm so grateful for. I guess more than a few, but it's not every weekend, it's at these family dinners, these Easters, these Thanksgivings, Christmas, you name it, those big moments, long weekends. I try to get out there. So it's really nice that even though I don't see them on a daily basis, they know who I am, and I can grow up or they can grow up with me, and I get to watch them grow and experience life and all of those amazing memories for the first time in a lot of cases. So I feel very blessed to be a godmom, and it's so, yeah, it's so crazy to think that, even my friends and I were at an age where we could be having kids, we could be getting married, and I'm personally not ready for any of that, but I know that if it falls into my lap, that I will be a terrific mom, and I will be a wonderful auntie to all of my best friends' babies if they choose to have kids and all of that good stuff. So that was incredible news of the past week. I also went to Brett and Han's dance show, which I believe I mentioned in last week's episode. It was just incredible as always. They are so talented. The way that they move, I love coming together with the dance community to share this art form and to just tell a story with our bodies. It's so expressive and something that I just hold very deeply in my heart. And I got FOMO, of course, as I always do. I don't know if that feeling will ever go away, to be honest with you. And I've definitely been more at peace with the fact that I'm not a part of dance shows like that per se at this moment, but I don't think the feeling of wishing I was up there with them will ever change. I don't think that's going to ever go away, but I think it just shows how connected I feel to this art that I've dedicated basically my entire life to, and the fact that I miss it and the fact that I can appreciate it while I'm sitting there is also a very huge blessing, and I love that I can feel that way. I also went to a recent a cappella performance, which is very cool. I've never been to an a cappella performance before. At least I don't believe I have been. I was in choir when I was younger, but I can't actually sing. So to be in a room filled with people who can actually sing was a treat. It was wow, I'm just in awe. We had three different groups that came in. I specifically went to go see one of the lawyers at my firm. He's in this a cappella group. His group was incredible. I love that they get to do this outside of work, take a little break, do a more creative approach, especially when so many of these people are busy. And I doubt all of them are lawyers, but you know, everyone has a busy job and a busy life. And so it's really nice that they have this outlet to express themselves as well. And they were very talented. And then there was this other group. It was called the Real Group, I believe, and they are from Sweden, I think, and they travel throughout the world, I guess, on these tours. And there was four of them. Oh my gosh, it was insane how these people can make the sounds and the melodies and the whatever it is. The oh my gosh, there was this one gentleman. Wow, we are being very serious today. There's this one guy in a stunning orange suit. I loved his outfit. Kind of looked like Chris Hemsworth, but his voice was probably the most beautiful, deep voice I've ever heard in my life. It was, I can't even describe it to you how he sounded. I can't believe it. He's real. But he made some beautiful sounds and bass sounds, and oh my gosh, everybody was so talented, and I am very glad that I went to experience that because it was new. I also have been playing volleyball. As you guys know, this is our second week in the tournament or in the league. I've only played one tournament and we killed it. We did so good last Sunday. We won each of our games. We played 3 rounds, so like three different people. It was best of three, and there was only one game that we had to play all three because we won one, we lost one, and then we won one again. So it was awesome that we won. Loved it. I mean, not high stakes game, but the fact that I'm getting into volleyball again is super fun, and I've never done beach volleyball in this setting, so it's been a fun experience. I also went to pitch and putt for the first time, and it was hard. Golfing is hard, if I'm being honest. So I feel like pitch and putt is like a smaller version of a just an 18-hole golf course. Like it's not that serious. You have two clubs. I mean, I guess if you bring your own clubs, you could have more. But it's a smaller space. You're only, I think the farthest yards that you were shooting was 75. I'm not good at all. I mean, I wasn't bad, but I definitely need to work on my swing. I missed it a couple times and it was low key embarrassing because people are waiting to hit the ball and I'm just like missing every single time. But I got a few good shots. I definitely got a few shots on the green right away, which was nice. So that was fun. I'll definitely be going back to that. And honestly, I've just been enjoying the fact that the fitness challenge from work is done and I had a bit of a slower week in terms of activity. You know, it's that time of the month, so I do need to be more in tune with my body. I was feeling pretty burnt out, if I'm being honest, feeling not super social and just trying to navigate that. But I took like 2 days off this week, and the day I'm recording this, I'm not sure if I'm taking a break from the gym. I should probably go, but it's not the best weather-wise. I don't really feel like walking super far, so I might just go swimming, but we will see. It's been nice taking a break, and I have to remind myself that my progress will not depreciate when I take breaks because muscle growth, requires rest as well. And I know that. And we've definitely talked about that. But easier said than done when I'm like, oh, I'm not really going. But I guess I'm so active all the time because I'm walking everywhere anyway. And I just have to give myself a bit more grace in that sense. But anyway, those are my updates for you. I think that I actually wanted to share. If there's more, I'll definitely share them throughout today's episode. But of course, before we get into this topic, I just want you to take what resonates with you. If something doesn't sit true with you, if you don't agree with my opinion, if whatever it is, that is so okay. You could just let that go. Just want to have an open conversation with you, kind of share some thoughts that I've had about this topic, things that I've discussed with my friends about, things that I've seen online. And yeah, so I appreciate your time as always for listening to me and what I have to say. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to make this episode was one, I feel like it's very prevalent in today's society. I've mentioned this kind of briefly before. I had a dating rant, I think, way back when, where, I was talking about how difficult dating was. And I was also talking about, is romance dead in another episode because I feel like people are straying away from the romantic gestures more so than they used to and all of that. But the reason why I wanted to talk about it today was because I recently listened to a podcast from Tinks. Obviously, I reference her all the time, where she had said that she herself is taking a break in the interim from dating. And to be honest, I was actually shocked when I heard that, so much so that I texted my best friend Nat because we always talk about Tinks. And I was just like, wait, like Tinks is taking a break from dating? Because I just feel like for her, that is almost unheard of. Like she gives tons and tons of dating advice and advice about like all things hookup to casual safe hookups to dating in the real life to dating online to all of this stuff. And she gives incredible advice. And in my head, like I imagine her as having like zero issues with dating or finding dates, or when she's actively dating, like it not being super challenging, which I guess is naive for me to think because even the most incredible people, the most beautiful, the ones who are so intelligent, everyone has a difficult time with dating, which goes to show that it honestly has nothing to do with you. It's just the society we're in right now. And I think dating is not the most ideal situation for most people right now, at least with the discourse that I've seen online and also the conversations that I've had in person with some friends. And more people, I feel, are leaning toward the single route. And it got me thinking, like, why is that? Because we live in a world where we're meant to connect with one another. And it's not just about dating. I understand that you can connect on a human, intellectual level with your friends and family. I get that. But dating is such a huge thing. Like, love is, I think, what makes the world go round at the end of the day. The more love we have, the less tragedy we would have in this world. And that's a discussion for another day, and the fact that we just need to be kinder to one another and maybe we wouldn't have so many problems. I sound like a broken record because I feel like that's what we always say, but we're just so cruel to each other. But dating right now, especially in the 21st century, we're in 2026, we're in the thick of technology and AI, and it's just advancing every single day. There are a few reasons that I think at this moment that are making dating difficult. One of the biggest things being a choice overload. And we've talked about the dating apps before. We talked about my feelings about them, so I'm not going to totally get into that. But it is a reason why dating is difficult. You have so many apps that you can choose from at the tips of your fingertips, and you can swipe, swipe, swipe endlessly. And there's just so many people you can talk to online. And I think it's a very cool thing that we can connect with others across the world. But it just means that there are so many options in your dating pool that how are you going to choose? Because if you have so many different people, there's got to be more. So it's like people are gravitating toward the idea maybe of what if there's other people out there? What if there's somebody better? What if I can get more? What if I can get someone like this? And so they just have so many choices. And too many choices create overwhelm, at least in my brain. If I'm presented with many different options, it is difficult to narrow down. And I think that's a very natural thing for people to feel overwhelmed in those scenarios. I feel like this next reason is definitely something that I feel closely to, is the fact that there is a lack of genuine connection and interest to connect human to human. I think we live in a more selfish environment, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I want you to be selfish and to prioritize yourself and to take care of yourself. But I think that there's more of that approach even going into a first date, where it's like you're you're not being open to the idea of connection because you're solely focused on yourself. It's a very hookup culture society too. It's like, what's going to satisfy me in this moment? And I'm not saying that the hookup culture is a bad thing. It's totally fine if that's what you're looking for, but I feel as though the people who are taking breaks from dating aren't necessarily totally into that scene. And Tinks is a big advocate for safe casual. She's practiced it a lot, but I also know that she wants genuine connection, and going out of your way to spend time to get ready and to dedicate, energy to meeting people over and over again, on a weekly basis. If there's a lack of genuine interest in a chance to connect with each other and asking questions and finding things that you have in common and being able to bounce off of each other, it gets tiring if the other party is not putting in that same effort. So I totally get why this can be difficult. I think that especially now in dating, I'm sure that this was a thing back in the day. They just didn't have names for it. But there's so many different labels that we can put on dating now. There's different phases. I feel like in my head, and maybe this is just because I watch, a lot of shows like this, but I feel like back in the day, there was more like courting and being pursued. And then it was like, okay, once I've dated you for a bit, I've only been seeing you, now we're going to date only each other and just be in a relationship. It kind of went from like being pursued, being courted, to then dating. But now there's like so many other steps in between. There are exclusively dating. There are dating but not being exclusive. You can find yourself in situationships, which every single one of us I feel can relate to that. There's so many different approaches now to dating, and while I appreciate that our generation can kind of change and make space for everyone to remain open if they wish, and to kind of like adhere to everyone's desires, because I understand that not everyone wishes for monogamy, but I think it can create confusion for the younger generation, as thinking they have to make it so complicated because there are so many options. It's like, well, what if I just want to date someone? What if I only want to see this person? But like, nope. I mean, society now, you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. I feel like that's the mindset. So then it's like, well, what am I finding myself in? A situation? Am I seeing somebody and then, but like, do I assume they're seeing other people? There's like so many different avenues you can go down, and it creates that confusion, and I think pulls away from the core topic here, is that like we're supposed to connect with one another and we're clearly not, and we're not, being human to human, and it creates a divide, which is another reason why I feel like dating is hard. I think that there is a clear divide between males and females. I think with the male loneliness epidemic, it's definitely not feeding the best narratives with on either side. And I'm not blaming males for this at all, but when I talk to my girlfriends, there's a common discussion about men, and sometimes they're not painted in the most kind light, and it's definitely not the best thing, and we contribute to that clearly. But there's obviously this clear divide where men feel like women are using them for XYZ whatever, but then women are like, men aren't doing anything for them or contributing in a healthy way in their life, or they're getting more lazy, or they say that they want to be in a protective role or a providing role, I should say, but then they're not doing anything about it. Or I watched a documentary recently on Netflix, or it was a little mini series maybe, but it had to do with the manosphere. I highly suggest you check it out. But this is a very good example of what I'm talking about right now, is that there are men in the world who believe a very specific thing about how women should behave and act and be, and lots of women do not agree with that. And I personally don't agree with that. I love the idea that we're equal and we can be, on each other's levels, and it's not about who's on top, who's winning. It's about supporting one another and creating a life with one another. But there is this huge divide online, and people are making fun of each other, and it's really not kind at all. Some of them are funny, I'll give you that. But, I'm not contributing to it in the best way either when I am engaged in these conversations with my friends. But there is a clear divide. It's making people probably go into a dating situation, if you are going out on a first date, with the not the best light. Like, you're probably anticipating it not going well, or the guy's thinking, like, this is just another way to be, get a free dinner, which, like, okay, no. But then the woman is probably like, well, one, am I safe? Is what I have to think about. I don't know this person. And two, like, does he only want to hook up? Like, what's this scenario? He's probably talking to so many people. Like, there's this divide, and it's honestly sad, but it definitely creates the issues with dating. Um, I think people are just lazy at the end of the day too, and unwilling to prioritize others, which kind of goes to the fact that I said earlier, where there's a lack of genuine interest and connection because everyone is kind of just like me, 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 me. And maybe that's the city that I live in. I feel like everyone is more self-centered in that way, to be honest. I think everyone just focuses on what they're doing, how they're moving through the world. And again, I'm an advocate for putting yourself first, but I think that it's not necessarily always about that. It's important if you want connection and love, and I think everybody wants that. And with that, I think requires some effort. And I think lastly, honestly, dating is not making people feel good. And dating is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a chance to feel giddy and excited about getting to know somebody for the first time. It's about, feeling a little awkward before sharing that first kiss, because dating is always awkward and silly, but it's also supposed to feel like dancing in the rain, which is such a freeing feeling. And I think when dating starts to feel more like a chore and starts to feel too difficult because of circumstance or societal pressure, it can feel more draining than anything. And I think that's honestly probably the number one reason why people are taking breaks. If you are feeling like dating isn't for you right now, I want to remind you that is so okay. I think during that time, then, it's an opportunity to turn inward, to fill your own cup. And taking a break is an opportunity to connect with your friends and family who actually make you feel sparkly. It's a moment to check in with yourself and be intentional about the energy you allow in, because again, your energy is so sacred, and you deserve to be around people that protect that energy to make you feel good about yourself, where you can connect on a human to human level. If you do take a break, you take some time off, you focus on yourself, you do all the activities that you love to do, replenish that soul. If you feel at ease about entering into the scene again, perhaps like approaching it in a mindset of doing what makes you feel good and comfortable would help. I think perhaps you could schedule, one day a week to allow the other days for yourself, to take yourself on a date, or to hang out with friends, to watch your favorite series, to go on a walk, whatever it is. I think approaching it with the intentional mindset would be really helpful. And on that, if you feel like when you are going out on dates with people, if you need to set intentions of what you're looking for right off the bat, that is your prerogative, and you're so allowed to do that, because you may not know what somebody else is kind of looking for. But if you are saying, hey, I want to connect with you, I want to meet you, but I am actually looking for something serious. So if you're looking for something more open, more casual, that is so okay. It's just not what I'm looking for. Or vice versa. If you are looking for something casual and you just want to connect with someone for a little bit, for whatever reason, for whatever you want to do, that is okay. It's just, being honest about that, I think, is important because you don't really want to waste anybody's time because you don't want your time wasted, you know? And I think the moment dating begins to feel like an obligation again, or you're approaching burnout, is when you do need to take a step back to do those more self-fulfilling activities and hangouts with friends, because I want to remind you that dating should be fun and funny and goofy and also empowering, and a chance to meet humans where they're at and share stories with one another. Dating shouldn't feel like a chore or a battery drainer. So listening to your heart and mind during this time and moving to what is in alignment with those is key. Those were some of my feelings about, are people taking breaks from dating? Are there reasons why? Are there solutions? I don't know if there's a right or wrong way to navigate this. I don't think that there is. I think it's just doing what makes you feel good. And again, what I said earlier of, if you're approaching burnout or feeling like this is just a chore and not something that's fun anymore, take a break from it. It is time to step back. And I think that goes with anything in life where you start to feel not good about yourself or about the situation. You don't have to be in it, and you can take a break. And just because there is pressure to start a family, to whatever it is in your personal life, if there is pressure, if we're entering a splinter era where everybody's doing that, you don't have to move in that way. Do what makes you feel good, what feels right for you. And if that means taking a break, that is okay, because it is so tricky to navigate. And you're not the only one that feels that way. I feel that way. Your friends feel that way. I'm sure that a lot of people in your life are feeling similarly to you. And, even people you see online who you never thought, like for me, I never thought Tinks would say that. But the fact that she did, I know that she created an opportunity for other people to not be afraid to take a break as well, which I appreciate. And it'll be interesting to see, how long this is for her. I'm curious to see what her mindset is later on. She says now that she has way more free time. She feels better because I guess she was going on so many dates where they just weren't good and fun anymore. And we know that having fun is so much fun, so we'd rather do that than be miserable for a few hours, like we don't need to subject ourselves to that. And as always, guys, thank you so much for sitting with me in today's episode. I hope that you were able to take something from it. I appreciate you listening to my low energy brain right now. I'm obviously a little bit more calm, which is nice, but it's, in the morning, so I haven't really had an opportunity to get my day started, but it's nice because I feel like the mornings especially, a lot of my thoughts flow more effortlessly, and it is where my creative process kind of takes over, and I get to sit here and yap away as per usual with you. I hope that your week is filled with endless opportunities of joy and love and light. I'm sending all of that incredible energy to you, so I hope that you feel it. And until next Monday, I'll miss you, but we will talk super, super soon. Okay, bye.